Okay, we're done.
Okay.
We're going.
Okay, let's start off by saying happy belated 4th of July. I hope you're all safe. You look all safe. I hope Chris is safe. So I'm gonna want to kind of, if we can, and both of you can help me with this. I know that Christian had a kind of a, I think a new process or a more a little bit of a different process than I'm used to or when I was doing it. So if you guys kind of want to give me some,
It wasn't really Christian's process. It was what we put in process because he just was totally checked out and absent. I'm sorry.
Well,
In order to make things move and things happen and not have everything just kind of like on his time, and maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. Vic really took a lot of controls over making the agenda.
He did?
Huh?
He did, you said?
Well, Vic took over
okay.
the agenda because it wasn't getting done.
Okay.
And
to be fair, it was Christian's idea, I believe, to separate and I think this is what Ray was getting at, separate the motions from the reports.
Yeah, and
get the motions over with first, which I think was a good idea, because if we did run short of time, at least we knew we had the motions done. And if we did have to cut anything, it was the reports. But
people could always read the reports online.
Right. But other than that, yeah, you know, stuff wasn't getting done. Communication was not there. So
there was even one point where he didn't want to have executive board meetings. He wanted to just do the agenda. And we told him that he couldn't do that.
Yeah,
because it's in our bylaws and standing rules.
Yeah, it does say in conjunction with the executive committee. It doesn't just say one person.
Yeah. So let me get one piece of agenda item out of the way, and that is general public comment. And I just want to make sure that I know it's just the three of us online, but I want to just for the sense of the recording that, you know, if there's any general public comment, then now's the time to do it.
My only public comment is I am annoyed right now because
so you're now in general public comment.
Yes, I know. I'm annoyed.
All right.
Because we've done everything around here to do with what police have wanted us to do with calling and filing the firework reports. And it was Vietnam in this neighborhood last night. And not one police officer came out because it still continued even after many calls and saying exactly where the fireworks were. It didn't stop. And then we had 2 big fires last night.
Where were the fires?
The fires, Peck Park again.
Oh, okay.
And then another one over by Harbor Rock, big one.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know we're not supposed to make comments on non-agenda or for public comment, but maybe there's something that public safety can.
Oh yeah, it's going to be on my agenda. I am like livid because if we are in the neighborhood watches, all of them publish, call this number, report here, LAPD online fireworks, report. And everybody reported, and I got everybody was complaining. I says, do it. Nothing. People were watching and they never saw no evidence of any cop coming out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Vic, anything?
I would agree from my side of public comment. I would agree that it was very noisy last night. I was not able to track down any, I did not go out and look, but except, from my house, but I was not able to narrow down where it was coming from other than a street, but not an address.
Well, it
But,
was a whole
yeah.
block. It was Bloomwood, all of Bloomwood.
Well, from where I was looking, it looked like it could have been from, I mean, there may have been some there too, but it looked like it could have been some from Englander or Sandwood.
Yeah,
It was hard to tell how, I could tell you the direction, but it was hard to tell how far. And then the other thing is, as far as the fruit stand people, I saw once the DWP got done doing their construction, which seemed to be off and on over a couple weeks. I've seen the fruit stand guy here once on the, let's see, that's west, on the south side, I think it is, of Westmont, no, west of Amelia. Why they went there this time, I don't know, but sometimes they're over there. But the other side was open, but I haven't seen any, so I don't know if they've given up, if the cops have done some good, or if
Yeah.
they just haven't realized that the DWP is done and haven't come back yet.
well, the
But so
taco
far, so good.
stand's gone. The
Yeah,
taco stand's
I remember
gone.
you told me about that. So that's all for me.
Great, thank you. So let's kind of go on to number 3. Now, let's see, United to House LA presentation. Is that, I had a request for also something regarding the homeless issue. I was talking to Lori. Is this the same people by any chance?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know with that vague description you gave, but it could be.
Okay.
Savannah asked about this, I'd say almost a month ago, maybe, maybe a little more, but around a month ago. So this has been, she has been waiting for this until the next board meeting.
So Lori had mentioned an organization, like I said, I don't recall, and she sent me an email. I'll have to look at it, and I'll look at it after we're off, about having a report on some homeless data, I believe. And she wanted to have it for this month, but after checking with the individual, she chose to do it for August.
Okay.
So I'll double check whether it's this one or somebody else. But if this is somebody different, Savannah, then Melanie, are you the one who's in contact with Savannah?
No, Vic is.
Oh, Vic, I'm sorry. So you're in contact with Savannah?
Yeah, I mean, not on a regular basis, but I'm the one who replied to her, telling her when the meeting was and stuff like that and how long. So I can find my email to her and verify that she's still planning on coming this month.
Okay.
Yeah, you replied to all on that too. You sent it to all the executive board, I think, too. didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll double check with her because it's been probably a week or two since the last time any email traffic occurred. So
okay,
I'll verify with her that she's still planning on presenting, and if she is, I'll leave it on the draft agenda, and if she isn't, then I'll take it off.
Okay. And I'll double check with Lori just so that there's no cross.
Okay.
And
because if it is the same one, then that means she's planning on August. So
yeah, so I'll double check. Like I said, Lori, I believe she sent me an email about it, so I'll check on it. I'll do that tomorrow, and then we'll kind of maybe look at see what that looks like tomorrow, and then we can do what we need for the agenda. So Melanie, I see on items B, C, D, and E, these are all budget and finance stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I see they're on the agenda for.
D and E are finance. So just the MER for June and the budget for June, and that's gonna be it, because I've so far received no requests for funding for anything, so.
Yeah, C is committee appointments and adjustments. How do you guys want to handle that? Vic and I, Melanie, before you got on, we were talking a little bit about committee appointments and chairs and things like that. And one of my thoughts was if we were to have a thing that was similar to okay, it looks like Chris is
Yeah,
signing on. If we were to have
Yeah,
if we were to have a thing similar to a retreat, this would be something that I would like to talk a little bit about,
yeah,
how to, my opinion as to what's appropriate and what isn't. And
my only concern, Ray, is in order, like I explained to you before, in order for us to use any money for food or anything, or allocate any type of money for food, it's gonna have to go through the city clerk and
right,
done.
right.
And then they're saying no in-person meetings right now.
Well, I'm going to
So-
tell you, Dunn is very adamant about no in-person meetings for retreats and other things associated.
Right,
with the
and
council.
so I don't know that we're gonna be able to use any money out of the NC funds. So what we may have to do is like Diana did, was just like a potluck type thing, and just ask everybody to sign up to bring something or something.
Well, it's still a little bit, I was trying to get kind of an inventory from people. Vic is interested, as you both Chris and you are. I heard Vic indicate that he would prefer a Zoom retreat meeting. So, but I'm still taking a kind of an inventory. So I'll continue to do that, and then we'll put that on there as far as that's concerned. But are you all in agreement that we should put something on the agenda for this month to talk about or look at appointments?
As far as appointments for,
Well, it says appointment adjustments, so that's what I'm taking.
Yeah, I think so.
so
Yes.
what, do it at the meeting or do it at the retreat?
Well, well, because it's on this agenda, I want to see how you all feel about, do we want to put it on this agenda? Or do we want to?
We could put it on this agenda and focus more on, I think we really need to go over, and really for the new people and all of that, more like procedures and bylaw type things. I think for a retreat, just kind of how to run a meeting and stuff, and to do a meeting, because I think that's kind of got lost in everything a little bit. Wouldn't you say, Vic?
yes,
So for committee appointments, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Doesn't that have to be public? Or no?
Well, it has to be voted on, and it's up to the discretion of the president, who is.
Right, I know that the president makes the appointments and then the board approves, but doesn't that process, like, we couldn't do that at a retreat, right?
Well, we could and vote on
Oh.
it, because we've done that, as long as it's a Brown acted agended retreat.
Oh, well, then
But we would make sure that it's on that following agenda as we have done in the past, and
Okay.
then make it formal on
Yeah,
the meeting. So, yeah.
then really it would be more of a special meeting than just a retreat, though, if we're doing any public business.
well, it may not if we meet in public. If we meet in public, then it's just gonna have to be like a get together.
Yeah.
On our own, without a agenda.
Well, I mean, and so in terms of the
Because Dunn
goals,
won't let us meet in public right now.
right, right, but if we, for this, I mean, we think about the intended goals and the function of the retreat, that is to, just to get the board to mesh better. and we're not doing any agendized, action items or whatever, then does it matter if we have Dunn's approval to do it or not? If we're just trying to get our act together, can't we just meet to do that?
Right, but we wouldn't be able to appoint anything or do any official
Yeah,
business.
Right. But the appointments is something that with other occasions, we've just done it at regular stakeholder meetings anyway.
I was making the point earlier that I think we need to kind of make sure that there's a clear understanding of the importance of committees, the importance of people all joining and participating,
Yep,
not joining in name only. And, that there is an expectation of certain things, such as a report, that's accessible, on the following month's meeting agenda and things like that. Not that we would make appointments on that, because of the fact that if there is a retreat and say we were to gather as a potluck thing, we would not be able to take any action, because this would not be a Brown acted thing like we had at Diana. Excuse me, I have a difference. Like we had at Diana's a few months ago.
Right.
So that's kind of what I was thinking, but I do not want to I don't want to cross Dunn, because I just don't want any negative feelings about that from downtown. But I also want to make sure that people are comfortable in getting together, and there are some who would prefer, if we do have something like that, it would be more of a Zoom meeting. So
yeah.
So I still need a little bit more thought into it. So
Another thought on this, Ray, is one thing we need to take in consideration too. What did I just do? One thing is Miss Science person here, the variant, because Ted, of his problems, he's been seeing a COVID specialist, and he goes, and one of the things that he alarmed us at last week at his most recent appointment was that this B4 and B5 are bad. They're as bad as B5 is as bad as Delta.
Right.
And it's starting to circulate. And so any large get-togethers, even outdoors, they're recommending wearing masks because it is so contagious. They are saying that it's going to cause a surge in hospitalizations and a lot of problems. Evading vaccines, and also even me, who got my special little shot, Evishield shots, it's evading those 20-fold. So I'm like, great.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that we have the function of the retreat, and the method is not, I don't think, if people are willing to meet and talk, whether that's in person or virtually or whatever, that's fine. And to get it done and to get that level of understanding to improve is the real mission.
Right.
And if we have to jump through hoops, then that's fine, And
I just
certainly,
think we have to be cognizant what level, when we do have the retreat, if there is like a surge going on, if there is an increase, because that's going to happen in July, August is when it's going to start going up again. And so we really need to be cognizant, if it is surging, that maybe we step back and do a Zoom rather than an in-person, and be, cognizant of that.
well, I think we should just assume that it's, if we know the variants are out there. As I was on my way home from St. Louis the other day, I was reading something about that. It's like, it's safer just to assume it's there, assume it will be where we are, and then, figure out how much of our mission we can accomplish if it's done in person. And in this case, I think it's a pretty big fraction of that. It would be nicer in person, but in terms of what we actually need to talk about, I don't think there's any reason we can't accomplish all the same stuff.
So just let me say that perhaps maybe I'm thinking that we'll have an agenda item on committee appointments and adjustments, but we'll be more advisory. People start thinking about your what what committees you want to be on. Maybe we can have a list of those committees, especially for the newer people that, these are them. I think everyone is well aware, but, just as a reminder to everyone and remind them of their obligation to participate
Right.
beyond a name.
So at this point, you don't want to have any changes to the current appointments on the agenda?
If there are people who are saying that we are going, that we would like to take someone off or put someone in, I mean, we can do that as we've done in every agenda.
Well, let me give you a
Okay.
heads up. Craig will
Okay.
probably try again to remove me from public safety chair.
Well,
And
he's going to need a second for that, and then the votes. We've never gotten that far.
exactly. And he never got him before. People said they'd leave the committee if he was the chair.
Well, I mean, again, and that's two sets of votes to get you removed and then to get him appointed. It's like, we know that neither of those things are going to happen, and he can say what he wants.
Yeah,
But what
I was just going to say, I think there is another advantage to just reminding people, and that is to actually get a clear understanding that there is a high level of priority to make sure that people are in this and are in it for the right person, for the right reason. And that sometimes works more against some people's attitude than others.
Yeah,
So-
that's something that's crossed my mind on several occasions, and honestly, at least once a meeting. Just as a general kind of reminder that you're not there to grind your own axe or whatever, but if more of us have something like that sentiment to express in a variety of ways or from a variety of voices, I think it helps to set what we all hope is the expectation of the entire group. Not like if one person says it, and it feels directed at one person, that's one thing. But if more of us make comments to that effect, I think it gives a general sense like, oh, this is this is what our baseline is. It's not just somebody picking on me. It's like everybody's on the same page, and you feel that kind of social and political pressure to step up.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, I'm still confused of what kind of agenda item do you want on the committee appointments? What we've done in the past is the president has modified the list, and then we've made that, we've posted that with the other agenda supporting documents. When we post the agenda for the meeting and put it under consent calendar, and then we vote on it or discuss it if it's pulled out. It doesn't sound like that's the way you want to do this for this next meeting.
Well, since this will be our July meeting, which is essentially our first meeting of the year, then it's just a friendly reminder of the importance of committees is what I'm saying would be on there. But that's not to eliminate the opportunity for a person who is, who has been approached to join a committee and the committee chair would like to put that individual on the list or take someone off the list, then we still can do that on the consent calendar.
But it wouldn't be done at the July meeting then. If July meeting is just going to be a friendly reminder, then any changes would be made at the August meeting.
Yeah, that's what that's what I'm driving at.
Okay, that's so the July meeting is not going to have a proposed committee membership type thing. It's just going to be a reminder about the committees.
That's my suggestion. Now, I'm completely open to your all feelings and how you'd like to do it.
Or you could submit a current list and say this is the list and discuss any changes that anybody would like to make.
If we have the presentation, especially if we have the presentation, I don't know if we want to.
Yeah, have that much in the weeds.
That could be a drawn out discussion,
Yeah,
because especially with the port committee now not having a chair because Christian left. That alone could be a drawn out discussion.
Did he leave the board entirely?
Yes.
Oh, I was unaware.
yes.
He sent his resignation email to the entire board. Then he sent a separate email only to me saying, basically, by the way, that does mean I'm, leaving the committee too.
Okay.
He didn't specify which committee. He just said the committee.
The committee.
Since he's only on one committee other than the executive committee, it kind of narrows it down.
Well,
Okay, so does that mean then we should, well, first, are we agreeing that we're just going to have a reminder agenda item for the committees at the July board meeting?
I think that's a good idea that, kind of bring it to everyone's attention, give them, 4 weeks to think about it. And then if there's any action to be taken, everybody's been fairly warned, and we do it in August.
Okay, which is fine. So, okay, hang on a minute. Let me. Come here. And I did add an item about, here's the beginning for the draft. I did have, for the consent, I did add, since leaving the board does not mean you left a committee, I do have that. An item for removing Christian from port committee by his request. So that means we don't want to have this under the consent calendar.
No.
Where do you want it? Do you want it after the consent calendar, but before motions? Or
Or just have it under executive committee reminder to think about committees.
That's kind of where I was thinking.
so under executive committee report?
Yeah, we'll speak briefly about the committee importance of committees. Consider committee what appointments.
Hey, how come that? Okay. All right, let's do it this way. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. How do you want to word this item?
Consider committee membership, or consider committees you'd like to be on.
How about discuss committee membership, and we can.
Yeah, I think it's just in general better to make the term vague. So, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think we want people to think this item is
Appointing people.
we're going to discuss who's on what committee. So
Mm.
I think we need to word it.
Was
such-
it-
How about discuss importance of committee membership?
That's literally what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Importance of is fine,
That's good. That's a good way.
which is something that we, it comes up at least a few times a year anyway, but
Yeah. So how do you go about getting motions and stuff like that? Are people submitting them for consideration on the?
Yeah, as the
agenda?
reports come in, they have their motions and he just adds them. And so then we do the motions
Okay,
and he does it and to submit the agenda to Christina by Friday.
okay,
But I typically like to do it by around noon on Thursday, just to give us a little extra time if necessary.
But like mine, we know these are coming always, so he puts them in.
okay.
Public safety has nothing this month.
And for the ones that we know are out of committee, I put that on. Since for the MER for June, for
It
this,
will be out of committee too.
oh, well,
Yep, I got it this morning.
Oh, you already have it. Okay.
Yep.
If we don't know, that's why leave it off. And the date of the MER is sometimes variable where it's not going to make it by the time we have the board meeting or
Committee meeting, because if we meet on the first, like say it's the first, second, or third, the budget and finance meeting, MERs don't generate until like the 5th to the 7th. So a lot of times here lately, they've been not out of committee and we have to do a motion and a second at the board meeting to approve the MER. But it's computer generated and there's nothing I can do about it, unfortunately.
So sometimes it's out of committee, sometimes it's not. And I added that to try to make it a little easier for people to know one way or the other. Because sometimes people aren't sure, myself included, in the past, whether it needs a first and a second or not. So hopefully that will speed things up by adding that. I think it has.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and we have our money already
And then,
for the new fiscal year.
this is, all right. Okay, good.
Is it 32 again?
Mhm. Plus, we'll have $7,812.55
Rollover?
in August to roll
that's a
over.
significant rollover. I like that.
And I did for port committee, I just said chair vacant.
Yeah.
And the no meeting, no report, in the hopes of getting people to understand that if they don't meet and they don't submit, or really it should be, and they don't submit a report, even if they did meet, they will not report at the board meeting.
Okay, sounds fair.
Because there are certain chairs who don't submit reports or don't have meetings and then try to
Do a report.
do a report on things that they didn't do at meetings because they didn't have them and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that will sink in and get people to understand that if you don't have a meeting, you don't get to report. Now for the ad hoc meeting and the Hank, and do we want to add a bonk item to this since you're on it? Or, for stuff that isn't, the point being committees or things like that are not standing committees, we may have some flexibility with.
Oh, remember too, Vic, you got to add in my EVG report update.
Right there.
Oh, okay. Zap. Also, Ray, I was told last week that I have to somehow, however you want to do it, have to make an announcement to our board to let them know that I've been appointed by Dunn as one of the regional 12, for Region 12, one of the regional grievance panel.
Oh, yeah,
member.
okay.
I have to, I had to go through training for it,
Okay,
and I did that. So myself and Doug are who's the vice president at Coastal? Pesh starts with a P.
I don't remember.
Don't know.
So,
He is, and then another person.
so for under executive, you want to do it under the executive committee
I
announcement?
guess under executive committee, maybe just put, just the announcement,
Appointment of
appointment.
Melanie as regional. as a
Melanie
member of
is
the
one
regional
of the three
grievance committee?
regional 12, one of three regional 12 grievancy panel members.
Yeah,
So-
I'll fix the spelling.
Will you be able to
What'd you say?
identify the other two?
No, I only know one of them.
Okay.
Would you
And
say
it's in,
grievance panel members?
appointment of Melanie Breck is one of three Region 12 grievance panel members, yeah.
Okay.
And if we ever have a grievance, then
Well, there's been one grievance that that's moving up the chain, so.
for a Region 12,
Yep.
oh, wow.
And it's one of our neighboring neighborhood councils.
Okay.
So guys, I hate to do this, but I'm gonna have to
Okay,
get ready for my bonk meeting, which I'm
I
hoping in the
think
future will
really-
not interfere with this, so.
really, I think that's it at this point. We pretty much covered everything. To be
If
honest
you-
with you, because now all that has to happen is everybody to have their meetings and then send,
I
you
mean,
know, and Vic plugs it in.
Yeah, okay.
And the only meeting left is the budget and finance tomorrow.
Is that it? No
Yeah.
planning and land use?
I don't, not this week. Let me,
No?
I'll double check, but and even so, if I haven't heard anything by Thursday, by noon, it won't be here.
Right. So we may be like no motions other than budget and finance motions.
Yeah, planning and land use is on the 13th. And then the joint planning and land use is on the 27th, so they
Oh,
don't have,
wow.
and then,
And youth and outreach, you didn't have anything, Chris?
we met, yeah, I still need to turn the,
But no motions.
motions, no.
okay,
And then
community, yeah,
and
youth outreach.
sustainability met, and she hasn't sent you anything, right?
Say that again?
Sustainability met, and she hasn't sent you anything, right?
Nope. And I'm pretty sure last time she said there would be some, but you know, snooze you lose,
And issues met, and there was nothing there.
right?
Sorry, say that again.
Issues met, and there was nothing there.
No, nothing
No,
meaning.
no motions or anything. So it looks like it's gonna be a pretty straight,
Yeah, at
meeting.
this point, it is only the budget and finance motions.
When I think that the budget anniversary, the fiscal anniversary, I mean, most of our motions have something to do with money, unless we're writing a letter. So since we had that reset, probably everybody just kind of took their foot off the gas.
So what I'll do, Ray, because I know you got to go, is I know there's this placeholder here. That's just in case I get more, so I don't have to,
Okay.
mess around with the formatting. But other than that,
do we have to announce that Christian, the vacancy of his position too?
Oh, we probably should. Just as a note on the executive report, the fact that,
That Christian's resigned from the board?
yeah, well, that's worth mentioning, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, because it's going to give us a heads up for August when we need, we're going to need to get cracking on a special election or a special, board election to fill that seat.
Yeah. Good idea.
Okay. And
Now,
then bylaws and elections will have to do a special election, I guess, even though we're so close. Because our elections are in April.
Yeah, I gotta generate something for that stuff, so.
But we're not supposed to just let the seat stay empty, right? We're supposed to like act to fill it ASAP.
I looked at the bylaws and the standing rules, and if the upcoming election is within 60 days,
Oh,
then
Yeah, it's longer.
then it stays vacant until then. Otherwise, we need to have a special election.
and he's an NGO seat, right? Or was?
He's a non-government position.
Okay.
So Ray, do you want to say anything about the election stuff at this meeting or wait till the next? Because if you want to at this one, I'll move you up.
No, I have, at this particular point, I have nothing to add to or say anything about it because there's still things that are being determined. I may find out something tonight too, but right now, just, no, I have nothing to say.
I'll leave you I'll leave the bylaws and election where you are.
All right.
But if you find that you have enough information or, something significant to bring up, then I'll put you after executive.
Okay. Sounds good.
So just let me know. Well, I guess let me know one way. Well, no, because you may get something at the last minute. So if you want me to move you up, let me know.
If you don't hear from me about that, then don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me know no later than noon on Thursday.
Got
Ray,
it.
and you heard right that EVG was supposed to make it a report tonight at your
EVG is gonna
long
make a
meeting, but
report.
we aren't going to now.
No
It's gonna
report?
we aren't doing the report yet because there was a bunch of people that didn't receive the papers for our final report.
Yeah,
And so we had to make sure that they got it to review it, all the stuff. And so there was a motion made we aren't going to do it until the 15th now.
okay.
Okay, so
I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because that means that maybe I'll get out of there by 9 o'clock or before 10.
The
God,
15th will probably be long with this whole thing.
Yeah.
So what I'll do, Ray, is I will, what I typically do is after this meeting, I send out the draft agenda to all three of you, and then you let me know if anything needs to change. And then as I get any new motions from anybody, then I'll, update it and send out the revision.
Okay, sounds good.
And I always keep draft on it until I send the final one to Christina.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
All
guys.
righty.
I'm gonna need
Thank
to
you very
drop
much.
off here. Thanks a lot.
See, doesn't this take a lot off you, Ray, with doing all of this, with Vic, picking up the slack and doing it?
I'm gonna light a candle for Vic tonight.
And then you don't have to
Nice.
be there for the Zooms either, because we all have the ability to start the Zooms.
Oh, that is so nice too.
Well, actually, Ray doesn't yet, but
I have no power with Zoom any longer, it seemed like.
Well, it's not a great power to have. It's not.
I spent too much time with Zoom, I'm telling you.
But it's too
I
hard
don't
for
miss
one
it.
person to have to be there for every committee meeting to start it
Yeah,
and stuff. So
that's
this
true.
way, we all share the wealth.
the way it works is if one of us is on a committee and that committee's meeting, then that person starts the meeting.
Yeah.
And for the committees that don't have one of us on them, I think I'm typically the one who starts it, but Melanie has, and I don't know if Chris has, but
I haven't. Well, actually, I take it back. I have once with planning and land use and maybe one other time. And I haven't tried it, but I think it's even possible to maybe do it remotely. So if there was like an emergency call, you had
Yeah,
to fire a meeting up on the app and then hand over to somebody else, you could probably
I
do
think
it.
so, yeah.
yeah.
But one of us will start the meeting and then, hand over the host job to the chair. And then stay if we want, leave if we want.
Cool.
All right, guys, I gotta go.
Alrighty.
All right, Ray.
See you
Okay.
later. Have a
Alrighty.
nice evening.
Bye.
Nice seeing you all.